Hello, welcome back to another Stonksy video. Today we're going to be looking at the Stonksy Channels. We're going to be having a deeper look at them and covering them more in depth and show you how you can utilize them in the market to enter and exit trades. But before we get into that, make sure you do drop a big like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Click that button, and of course make sure you are signed up to BLOFIN. Get your non-KYC account today with some great welcome bonuses when you click that first link in the description and sign up. Also, at the time of recording, we are still running the Bot 20 discount on Stonksy, so you can get 20% off your first month, bringing that first month down to £116, and you do get access to everything with that. So click that second link for that one and sign up. It'd be great to see you over there. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So, if you are new around here or you haven't seen the latest update, these are the Stonksy channels on the screen at the moment. You can see it's made up of two channels. You have the inner channel here, and then you have the outer channel, which is made up of the upper section and then the lower section down here. Now, what are they and how do they benefit looking at price action? Well, price remains inside the channel for the vast majority of the time. It's very rare that you'll see price actually exit the inner channel, which means that when you get an opportunity of price exiting the inner channel, it suggests either an exhaustion point, perhaps strong trend movement, or, most key, an opportunity to hit the trade the opposite way. So for instance here, you can see this. We looked at this on stream, which we'll be covering in just a second, but as you can see, price entered the outer range and then snap back into the inner channel again here, snap back. Also, it's just when it comes into touching, so whenever it comes into touching distance, it can provide a nice scalp, short or long the opposite way, depending on obviously what time frame you're looking at as well. But let's take a look exactly how you can utilize them in real time. So something we're going to be looking at here is one of my live streams from this week at the time of recording. This is going to show you exactly what we discussed on stream regarding the channel, and then we'll fast forward into the stream and show you exactly what price did. But notice what I said to viewers at the time when we was looking at where price was into the channels and then what happened afterwards, and it shows you a real-time effect of how you can utilize the channels to make trades in the market. Potentially coming back and testing the previous all-time high, 109,588-ish. However, notice that we are above the inner channel on the 1 hour, so momentum may stall a little bit while that catches up. Now you can see on that clip of that stream that we was discussing on stream the Bitcoin price and also taking note of obviously where it was in relation to the channels, and myself commenting that it's in the outer bound of the channel, so it's exited the inner channel, gone into the outer one, which suggests that even if the Bitcoin price is on an upward trajectory, which we now know obviously later on it carried on upwards towards 110k, it could suffer a pullback before continuation as it snaps back into the inner channel. Now, we'll take a look at exactly what happened later on that stream and how obviously it can show you how you can benefit from these channels. For those of you that wasn't here, or if you wasn't here at the start of the stream, we was using these Stonksy channels to look at a pullback on Bitcoin. So we was looking at it, and price spends the majority of its time in the inner channel, as you can see here. Now, the last time we exited the inner channel was on Thursday, and obviously we dropped down, entered the outer zone to the bottom, and then quickly recovered into the inner channel. So we was looking at it, and obviously price was around 107.8, and we was in the outer channel, and obviously we were looking at the SR test and all that good stuff. So currently, from where we were discussing a scalp short, we are around about 0.775-ish to the downside from that scalp short. So if you entered, great stuff. If you didn't, you can see the benefits live on stream of the Stonksy channels alongside obviously the rest of the features, but we specifically utilized the channel to get that. So that is just one example for you on what we cover live on stream in discussing obviously the Stonksy indicator and its features, but also a live demonstration for you on calling movement in real time, utilizing the channels and using them to say, okay, well, even if something is in a trend, which obviously at the moment Bitcoin has been in an uptrend, doesn't mean that we can't potentially scalp the pullbacks. And obviously later on in that stream it did drop down into that box for the SR test and then bounce back up. So it did come down to about a 1% gain to the downside on a scalp short if you would have taken it, if people taken the trade live on stream as well, as I was discussing the possibility of it. So that is one example for you on how the channels are absolutely fantastic, and you saw it there as well. I'll just cover it now again. On the last time that the price exited the channel, bar that time we was looking at on stream, was down here, and as you can see again, price exited with very, very aggressive selling pressure down out of the inner channel, deep towards the outer channel, and then snapped back in. And obviously this was an opportunity itself, but then on the snap back into the channel, bang, price recovers. And we can see it obviously again up here, price exited the upside of the channel into the outer bounds, and then bang, pull back. There we go again. And also to the downside as well. You know, yes, earlier at this time of recording, we had price plunge down towards, touched the bottom of the inner channel, actually came out for a second, but then bang, snap back. So again, that's another example there on how you can utilize it for scalps, and obviously this would have been a scalp long back to the upside. Now obviously looking there, we've got a mixture of opportunities. For instance, the lower down one that we looked at when price crashed down towards 100k, that was obviously an opportunity to get swing long to the upside. Price came into a key zone, it took some key liquidations, came in for a good retest, and then obviously came to the outer bounds of the channel. And then that was an opportunity then to potentially swing long towards the highs. The other ones we've looked at are obviously being scalps. Now, depending on what type of trader you are, you may be able to specialize in taking advantage of different ones, whether you be swing trading it, scalping it, or maybe looking for a day trade. But obviously, we are currently looking at the 5 minute. Now, at the time of recording, the 5 minute has had another great one of these 5 minute double confirmations where we get the background color change and then we get the arrow to confirm it, which is what we call a double confirmation, and then bang, price has dropped down significantly from there. But as you can see on something like the 5 minute, we can just go along and you can see exactly how you could utilize the channels if you are a scalper or a day trader for using it to enter and exit trades as well. So as you can see, let me just go back and redraw that. So you can see here, touch, price rebounds, touch to the upside, bang, price drops. Here, that would have been obviously a more short scalp than a potentially day trade. But here, we've got price again, touching into here and then bouncing. We've got another example here. We've got one to the upside. That didn't quite touch there, but it did get quite close. We've got another example over here. So this is just one example and just one, freeze frame of about 12, 15 hours of data where you could have entered multiple different times. And obviously on a very short time frame, you would have been able to get a few successful scalps in if you was watching the price the whole time. Or obviously if you just caught it once, you may have well been able to get one really successful trade in there depending on the size that you're trading with. Now the brilliant thing about Stonksy is that it can be used on any asset on TradingView across industries and also on any time frame. Now we've covered the 1 hour, we've just covered the 5 minute. Now let's look at the 1 day to show you that it can be utilized on any time frame regardless of what type of trader you are. So as you can see, if we look all along here for the past month to month and a half of Bitcoin price action, we can see along here there's definitely a few things that stand out when we're looking at this daily time frame. The first of all is the hugging of the upper of the inner channel. Now this is where Bitcoin was in a clear uptrend. If we zoom out, you can see Bitcoin was in a clear uptrend and following momentum to the upside. Now obviously you could tie in a couple of things to judge where you should enter and maybe take your foot off the pedal when it comes to trading. Now this can be used with obviously using SR lines, our oscillator, the background color change, whatever it may be. But you can really make a good judgment on, is this a good place to jump in? Or maybe is the trend strong enough where price is going to push up maybe into a key level that you've got outlined, higher or lower? Or is price maybe just in a strong trend where you don't want to step in front of it just yet? You want to see a tail off in momentum. Now I've just scaled that out a little bit more because there is something I'd like to cover across this period going back to February. The first thing I'd like to note is obviously the performance of the channels around this area. Now as you can see, price came down and started interacting with the lower end of the channel on the daily here. We then got a follow through down, and then obviously we had this liquidation. Now price came into this outer channel here. The next day we got a push up by a couple of $1,000. So that alone, obviously entering in this part, would have been a great trade, because you would have had a push up the next day into a couple of $1,000, and you could have, you know, took risk off the table, profited, put your stop loss to break even, whatever it may be. Now you may be looking at obviously what came next, where we had this liquidation candle. This again was another opportunity of pushing right deep into the outer channel, and then looking at it and being like, okay, well, this is on the daily time frame. Is this potentially a great move to capitalize on? And as you can see, price the next, even on the same day actually, absorbed back into the inner channel, and then obviously we had a big run up in the following days after that. Then if we look at the price action that followed after that, we didn't quite touch it on here. We got close to the low end of the inner channel, but we didn't come into contact with it. There was still a bit of a gap. But then noticeably here on the actual bottom currently on this high time frame picture, we did come into contact pretty much with the inner channel on this day. Now price came back and revisited around this level a couple days later, but the channel had moved down by then, so we didn't get it on this time. But here we got pretty close. Now obviously this was tied in with something I've mentioned before, with SR lines that you could have marked out on the chart. The 74, around 72, 73, 74k region was heavily watched during Bitcoin's time trading up here for a retest. Now obviously if you would have had that outlined as well, price coming into there, touching the lower end of the inner channel, potentially would have marked your checklist for, okay, price is coming into a key retest here. It's coming into a zone that a lot of people have waited for. This is where I'm going to step into the market and be confident in this trade. Then what came after was obviously a rebound in the price. Now Bitcoin was hugging the upper end of the inner channel for a while here. Now the trend was up, and anyone shorting the price, if it wasn't a scalp short, was suffering during this time. Price was either consolidating or upwards. The trend was not down, nor were pullback. However, we did obviously end up getting a pullback here, but you know, at the time, would you have been confident in entering a trade here based on this alone after seeing the previous history? Maybe not. But it goes without saying, if you would have entered here or here on any of these 2 days, you would have got a very nice pullback by a couple of $1,000 for a good couple of percentage. However, we finally got the exit of the channel after the trend was up for a good month or so here. Now we exited the channel. We did go higher by a very slight amount, by about $1,000 in the coming days after that. But then we did get a good pullback on the price down here into this box. So this would have been a potential good point to enter a short trade, looking for a pullback into the inner channel. And then again, we had it up here when price came up to a new all-time high. We exited the inner channel, and then straight away, bang, pullback, and then obviously a deeper pullback later on than that. But that is the magic there on the 1 day. So whether you're sitting there watching and thinking I'm a scalper, I'm a swing trader, whatever it may be, there's 3 different time frames of the 5 minute, the 1 hour, and the 1 day on how you can look at that, tied in with other aspects of Stonksy or your trading game, and utilize these channels to the best of your ability to give you confidence and that added factor of when you're looking for conditions to enter a trade. Now you can also use it on any time frame. You know, you could use it on the 1 minute, you could use it on the 2 hour, the 4 hour, 15 minute, whatever it may be. It's completely up to you. The channels work the same across any time frame. You're looking for them exhaustion points and bounce places in the price. But that's everything for today's video. Big thank you for watching. Just a reminder, obviously we are still running that 20% off Stonksy. You can find it on the website as well, stonksy.io, linked in the description. Use code BOT20 at checkout on this monthly plan. This is the one you want, and you do get access to everything with that as well at the 20% discounted rate for the month. So make sure you take advantage of that if you haven't already. But please do drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.